Hello, hello, hello. I'm in my kitchen here, just having a seat, and I am wanting to welcome you to this new episode of Healing and Powered. I am wanting to impart in this video um, what I just realized, and I want to make it known to others. I want to verbalize. Now, this is the first time I have shared it, but I'm realizing it, and I want to bless other people with this information. And those who are survivors of any type of abuse may not realize that they are clinging to that they're in a relationship with an abuser, have it be a man or a woman, have it be an institutional organization. And there are other people that you may have shared the abusive events with, and they have chosen a side, and they have also heard you and asked you, why haven't you taken more responsibility for what you have contributed? Why haven't you identified with more of a victim position? There are in more or less words, but there is a justification in the mind of the survivor of abuse, those who are still in the abusive relationship, and probably still those that are out of the relationship. They are still in this justification, even when they're in the relationship. They're in an actual conversation about how the abused should not use money, but the abuser will use money that is actually written to the other person, or how I need to do this to you sexually because of this other thing that has no founding or no standing. It's just, there are so many reasons that the manipulator, the abuser, will present. And you have the survivor has heard this and abided by it, followed through with it, and for that moment, for that time. And when they're by themselves, their reasoning, their intellect tells them that's silliness, that it's ridiculous, or I didn't realize it then. I'm not crazy. I went through with what they said, but I don't want to do this or that, or I don't want them to do this or that anymore. Those moments when you're by yourself and you're talking about yourself, you're reviewing over those events, those moments are the moments that strengthen you and keep you having one foot outside. And that outside is your doorway to opening up your future mentality, where you are free from all the justification that you have to do, all the denial that you're in. A lot of times when someone will talk to someone that is abused, that's being abused, or in just a very messed up situation, they'll plainly say, oh, that is emotional abuse, that is verbal abuse, that is financial abuse, that is physical, that's domestic violence. The person that is being abused will deny it, they'll justify it, or they'll be oblivious to it. But if you tell that abuser, oh, what if Molly did this to Sam, then the abused will be able to detect, oh, that's domestic violence. There's such a denial that the abuser has to deal with, or that they take on while they're in their abuse situation, and sometimes even after they're out of the abuse situation. But if right now, if you're listening to this video and you are currently in any kind of abusive situation, or you're out of it but still have on this mentality, it is sometimes did not start in your marriage or in your business relationship, or it didn't start when you first started working for that organization. It may have started from your parents, it may have started from your siblings, it may have started from the first job that you had before your current one. And in order for you to remain in relationship with that organization, that person, place, or thing, you had to do some things that were against your will, that were against who you are as a person. And and I want you to know that the conversations that you have with yourself that totally denounce what you may have said or done or didn't do are something that need to be valued. Have those conversations with yourself. But there are also people, places, and things that are allowing you to vent. And in my personal life, I do have people of my church that are not of the same cultural background or of my bloodline, and they're listening to me. They're allowing me to talk and vent about things that are just clouding up my mind and my heart. And it is the abuse. And they give me the gift of being heard. And for over a year, I've come to them and met up with them, and I've heard from them. I've talked with them and offered them some advice on things that they have shared with me, and they've offered me advice. And because I have denial already set in before I ever met them, before I even began to share with them, I carry that denial over to them. And what it has cost me is that what I'm realizing today is that I have met with those friends from church, and I would grant them the 2 hours that we would agree on meeting, but I would really look for an opinion from my family or from my spouse, and I would then on repeat meet with these friends from church, and I would hear from them, and I would talk with them about my issues and vice versa. And then I would go back to my family and I would repeat the same situations, how I'm hurting, how I'm struggling, how I don't like what's going on. And they and my family would tell me, would just try to be more respectful, and then just try to be silent and apply silence in a respectful way. The Bible asks that. But what I learned today is that I have denied myself nourishing relationships like the ones of the ones at church, and I have instead desired to look and keep up relationships that aren't two ways, that aren't reciprocal, that aren't loving and nourishing, but more ready to. The nature of the familiar relationships are how the nature is for them to share with me how I can own up to what I contributed to what I'm experiencing. And when I verbalize or affirm their dishing of my responsibility, then they can affirm that I am actually listening to them. And that's their relationship. But I can make my familiar relationships distant, and I can make my friendships and bonds at church, I can make them my spiritual mother and father. I can create a relationship like a sister and brother with these people. I can choose that, and I can create my own community. I can create my own network, and I can create my own people in my life who I choose to speak and hear from, and give the gift of listening and receive the gift of being heard from other people that are older, younger, that are from the opposite sex, but all have to be in the faith, that are actually striving to honor Yahweh with their lives. That is fundamental. And I want to share that with you, and I've come to understand that that's what I need to do, and not limit people who are trying to bless you with the gift of being heard. And you do need to put a limit and a cap and distance between those who are only good for bringing you down and wanting you to adhere to their values and their perspectives and their goals at your expense and your safety and your peace of mind and your joy and happiness. What? Not that as believers we need to seek anything that is for our own joy and happiness, but there are people that are wearing the face of our family members, but they're actually the tool of the enemy. And I want you to accept that. I want you to accept that there are people that you, from this moment on, have loved, but they don't have the capacity to love you biblically ever. And if they are not saved and don't have the pursuit of Yahweh in their heart as their motivation to do anything, they are an enemy to you as they are to who you worship. So not just consider that, but count today as a new day and move forward, embracing men and women who look nothing like you and are from nowhere from where you're from. They don't have the same traditions, but they do have the same God. And it may be very new to you to receive gentleness and kindness and love from others. And so you may be weird and awkward in that, but start now. And it may be different for you to be present in those places and spaces where you are valued, but start now. And you may act awkwardly, but start now. Because your sense of self has been hushed and muted and silenced for a long time. Go to those places and those people that speak with respect to you and value you as God's son, as God's daughter. Start now to be in their places, in their spaces, and continue to commune using God's word to strengthen your bond with his sons and daughters, and to be able to live out the calling on your life that God has for you. Not to idolize your situation, but to be a vessel to go out and be used by him to be a blessing to other sons and daughters of the faith. I would love for your commentary on this video, and I would love to be able to connect with his sons and daughters that are able to watch my videos. Be blessed in every and all things. Bye.